शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं
A very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of AHPI and AMC, I, Sheetal Joshi, welcome all the delegates to this webinar titled Better Together. Both the organizations have joined together to discuss few of the ground reality and how the Association of Medical Consultants and AHPI can help each other strengthen so that the joint efforts can escalate the solutions at a faster track. We welcome all the delegates who have joined us, as well as the dignitaries who have joined us. We welcome the presidents from both the organizations, Dr. Sushil Jatana from AHPI and Dr. Gopinath from AMC, and Secretary Dr. G.V. Divakar, and very active member of Mumbai branch of AMC, Dr. Ashok Shukla. Our invited speaker for today's program, Dr. Lalit Kapoor, we welcome him also, who holds many prestigious positions. For a formal introduction of all the dignitaries over here, I hand it over to the office bearers of AHPI and AMC. Welcome, everyone.
Can I go first then?
No, first I will start with.
Yes, Dr. Divakar.
I heartily welcome you for all this program that is Better Together. There is there are 2-3 associations, AHPI and AMC, the Association of Medical Consultants of Bangalore Division, to start this program, which is hosted by these 2 associations. And first, I will introduce Dr. Sushil Jatna. Sushil Jatna is the president of AHPI Karnataka branch, and he's heading a big hospital in Udupi called Lombard Memorial Hospital, and he's director of Lombard Group of Educational Institutions. And along with the president AHPI Karnataka chapter, he's a council and executive board member of Christian Medical College, Vellore, and is a member of Hospital Board of IMA Karnataka, partner of Global Multi-Speciality Hospitals Private Limited, and member of Karnataka Inter-Diocese Medical Board. Welcome you, sir, and I will introduce our next chairperson, that is Professor K.S. Gopinath. He is president of AMC Bangalore chapter. That is, and he is chairman of the editor general of Indian Association of Surgical Oncology from 2009 to 22, and he is the president of International College of Surgeons from 2018 to 20. So I welcome. I request Dr. Gopinath to say a few words. Dr. Gopinath, sir, please tell a few words about this meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Divakar. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we know that all these days we were a little bit slow because we were not able to meet together and have the various kinds of meetings. Now we are getting out of this COVID. We are getting out of this COVID problem. And Divakar being very active, both Hema and Divakar, now we started thinking of something else and have this first meeting with AHPI. We want to get associated ourselves with the various collaborative medical associations and take it forward. Because as a medical health professionals, we believe multidisciplinary team approach is a success for everything. Why only for diseases, even for our educational activities and spreading the message to our members. I think a joint efforts, collaborative partnership is the in thing happening in various circles, not only in health, but in the other sectors also. Keeping this in mind, we thought of associating with AHPI. Diwakar has come out with a very good suggestion. We are going to have a combined meeting. Collaborative partner should be the answer for the future. Thank you, Diwakar, and I welcome everybody for this meeting. We will take it forward and conduct this meeting quite frequently, so that it will be easy to understand what is happening in the various parts of the country and the world. Thank you, Diwakar.
Thank you. I request Sushil Jatma, President of AHP, to introduce our guest speaker, Lalit Kapoor, and proceed.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Diwakar. And can I just add my own words of welcome to all the delegates and the eminent speakers that we have had today. I mean, it's really a landmark occasion in one sense, because Indian doctors and hospitals face numerous challenges at the moment. It's an interesting phase in the healthcare space, but we need to have a voice. We need to have a voice to influence policies at the central, state level, and also deal and negotiate with various statutory organizations. And hence, it's a wonderful occasion to actually collaborate with each other. And we've had a wonderful sort of collaboration now with the AMC, Association of Medical Consultants. And I'm delighted to be joining this meeting, this webinar, along with members of the both AHPI as well as the Association of Medical Consultants. I wish, and I'm sure you'll have a very interesting time, because we have a wonderful set of speakers, starting off with the eminent Dr. Lalit Kapoor, who is the President of the Federation of Association of Medical Consultants of India. He's also a very senior general and gastrointestinal surgeon, and was also the founder member of the Association of Medical Consultants, and has over 11,000 medical consultants, largest body of its kind since 1972. Interestingly, we are now going through significant issues around medical legal problems, challenges, etc. And Dr. Lalit Kapoor was the founder of the medical legal cell in the country over 40 years ago, when probably medical legal issues were not as common as they are now. And he has assisted hundreds of colleagues in dealing with their medical legal problems. And this is one of the biggest thorn in most consultants and hospitals' flesh, the medical legal issues and the threat of violence as well against hospitals and medical consultants. He's also the author of a book called Better Safe Than Sorry, and was invited by the National Judicial Academy to address High Court judges. I mean, that is something really great. One of our colleagues who is to address the High Court judges. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us to hear from Dr. Lalit Kapoor. And Dr. Lalit Kapoor, without much ado, can I invite you to speak on this occasion? And we look forward to hearing you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sushil, and thank you, Dr. Diwakar, for this amazing initiative. It's fantastic, and it's come not a day too soon. This is something which was wanting to happen, waiting to happen, and I'm so glad we have joined hands to take this initiative forward. And I'm really happy to be with you. Dr. Gopinath, of course, has been holding the flag of AMC high in Bangalore. I think despite all the odds, he has still been consented to remain as the president, and he's continuing to do his bit for the association. It's amazing. We appreciate that, and really would like you to be part of this initiative so that we take it forward as much as we can. Now, I have been asked to speak basically on AMC and, of course, the challenges which consultants are facing. Now, briefly, I would like to tell you that this association started in 1972. Now, I passed my MS in 1972, and I'm in practice since 1972. It means 50 years. We completed, AMC completed 50 years in last year. Yeah, 50 years. So I'm also in practice since 50 years. And I have been watching the metamorphosis of our society, of course, metamorphose, the medical scene, the doctors themselves, and also the kind of problems, the scale of problems, which, as Dr. Sushil rightly said, we've never seen before. And it's now kind of reaching a peak where we have to somehow find a way out and deal with it. Now, in when the association started, you'll be surprised to know that what were the problems we were in Mumbai? Why did we start this association? And first of all, let me tell you, this was meant to be a non-academic association. You'll notice now recently they have started doing that, but AMC never had academic program. Our vision was very clear that we are not an academic body. We would always have problems, discussions and programs on problems facing the problems in our consultants in day-to-day life. That was our only mission. We were single-minded. You will never see any lecture on diabetes, hypertension, and so on. Never. It was very clear what was our purpose. Single purpose was there. And in fact, we used to call it a welfare body of consultants. And some people very hesitatingly used to say that it ought to be a trade union of consultants. That you can understand what was the function, what was the idea behind trade union. But people were aghast. Oh my God, no, trade union. What do you mean say we are a trade union? But that was the basic purpose, welfare of our members. And to begin with, we had very minimal problems. Mumbai, we had a problem. We would not get telephone connection. Doctors were supposed to be under a special category where we used to get a out of line, out of turn telephone connection. We were not getting. So we had to go and fight for that. Then certain suture material, there used to be a shortage. So basically it started at a very basic level where our day-to-day problems used to be solved, what we were facing in practice. And the other thing, it is a multi-speciality organization. Means every shade of speciality you will find under this, from A to Z. You could be, all that your eligibility required was to be a postgraduate in a particular branch. That's all. You're a postgraduate, you become our member. We would even allow diploma, postgrad, even DCH, DPH, and all these diploma holders. You are beyond MBBS, so we used to allow. Because after all, if you have to be above a graduate level consultant. That's all you would be called a consultant. So that is how we started. And gradually, of course, we saw that the problems multiplied manifold. Particularly, of course, the medical legal scene was horrible, and which resulted in a lot of patient hostility, patient aggression, which was not there in earlier times. There was an exponential of litigations. Now, what we found is, particularly till 1986, things were not so bad. Once in a way, somebody would file a case in the civil court or in the police. Yes, they used to occasionally file a case in the police, but it was quite uncommon, not that rare. In 1986, the Consumer Protection Act was passed. So between 1986 to 1992, many cases were filed all across the country against doctors, but these were challenged. These cases were challenged in higher courts, saying that, what do you mean? Where is it written in the Consumer Protection Act that doctors are covered? And according to us, doctors are not supposed to be covered in the Consumer Protection Act. But in 1992, in the VP Shanta versus IMA case, which occurred in the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court finally said that no, the medical services are covered, and this then it was a finality that we came under the Consumer Protection Act. So that is the time from 86, 90s, in the 90s, and from 86 onwards, things became really bad, because then the patient became a consumer or a customer or a client, and the doctor became a healthcare provider. much like internet service provider or any XYZ service provider. So you call a healthcare provider. And that is where the respect for doctors was lost. And in fact, it was quite demeaning to a life and death profession like ours to equate it to the or trader, somebody was given a warranty, guarantee, the builders would not. I mean, it was absolutely, it's absolutely ridiculous as a matter of fact. But this is what it was. Also, the amount of awards, the compensations that they started giving, initially they were not so much, but the type of compensation they started giving, astronomical awards. 40 lakh, 50 lakh, 1 crore, 2 crore. The largest was 11 crore in the Kunal Saha case in Kolkata, in that Emory hospital where the patient had got Stevens-Johnson syndrome. She was an American citizen who had come to India and got treated here. 11 crore rupees. So fantastic awards, just like they were trying to do copy the American system. Now, also, apart from these consumer cases, also the criminal cases increased. That it became the norm for anybody. Moment patient dies in the operation theater or a patient gets a reaction to a drug, immediately they would go to the police station, lodge a police complaint. So immediately they have criminalized, made it a criminal thing. And despite so many judgments in favor, so many good judgments, like the Jacob Matthew judgment and the Suresh Gupta judgment, the Martin D'Souza judgment, Supreme Court, so many judgments were there, which very clearly said, and quite rightly, that if a patient complains to the police, then the police does not understand ABC of medicine. So they have no business to decide whether an offense was committed or not committed. And by law, they are supposed to be referring the matter to an expert medical board, preferably of a government hospital, where one of the members has to be a specialist of your branch. And once the expert medical board gives an opinion, because they are going to go on the scientific basis, that whether were you negligent, was this standard practice, should this have been done, or should this have been done differently, or should this not have been done. Once they give their opinion to the police, only then they were supposed to proceed in the matter. But they have violated pan-India. They are not following this law. In fact, if you know the recent case in Rajasthan, where this Dr. Sharma, lady gynecologist, whose patient died of PPH, there were these political goons who provoked the patients and brought the body back to the hospital, and the police forced the police. The police filed an FIR and put section 302. They applied section 302. What is 302? Murder. Ordinarily, the section which they have to apply is section 304A. That means causing death due to rash and negligent act, which is the same section which would apply if you were driving on the road, you knock down somebody and the person were to die. That is the rash and negligent driving. And now they are applying this. They are applying the same section to doctors, saying that rash and negligent treatment causing death due to carelessness, right? But that is bailable. That's an offense. You don't go to jail, and it's immediately you get bail, etc. And then you can go on arguing the case for years to come. But in this case, they applied section 302, and the poor lady, she was so terrorized. They told her, you are going to go behind bars. She hanged herself in her own nursing home in one of the rooms. So you can imagine, this is the kind of thing, this is very recent. And all over the country, very often we now, of course, because of social media, we come to know. But there are so many cases we don't even know. And even if they don't arrest, they threaten. A lot of our AMC members come to me saying that there's a police case against us, this patient has filed, and the inspector is saying that you give me 2 lakh rupees, give me 5 lakh rupees, otherwise I'll put you behind bars. So it's a fear factor, fear psychosis. And I tell them that you tell him that please try and put me behind the bars. and you let me see how he'll put you behind the bars. It is total contempt of the courts, contempt of Supreme Court. Supreme Court guidelines have clearly said in so many cases. But you don't get frightened. You say, all right, please follow the due process. We are not, and that is where the member gets a lot of support. He knows that we are behind him. He knows we have got 20 advocates who are behind us. And anytime we will stand for this doctor. He has not to worry. And that's why even recently one cardiologist, he was about to pay money to the inspector. I said, see, you are wasting your money. Even if you give the money, there is no way he can not follow the due process. Let him follow the due process. He can't arrest you. He has to send all your records to the expert committee, who in turn will decide whether you are negligent, non-negligent, and then only they can file, and it's a bailable offense. Nobody is going to go behind bars. Now, I am very happy to inform you that FAMC has filed this is very recent. Only last week we got the confirmation. We have filed a public interest litigation in the Supreme Court, telling the Supreme Court that, sir, in these 5 judgments, you yourself have said that a doctor cannot be arrested without an expert opinion. And all pan-India, even from Karnataka and all, we have given actual examples of doctors who were arrested despite this judgment and not following the due process, which we have given examples. And even first example is of this lady, poor lady who committed suicide, that they had no business to apply this section. She was terrorized. She would have, such a valuable life was lost. So this PIL we have filed in the Supreme Court. It has been listed on the Supreme Court, and we have request submitted that Supreme Court should issue fresh orders or ask the central government to make it a statute that no doctor can be arrested, and you can't put sections other than which are permitted. In death, only 304A, other sections like grievous hurt, somebody lost an eye or whatever. But there's no question of doctor being imprisoned. So this petition is coming up. We have hired one of the topmost lawyers, Mr. Shekhar Nafde, who is going to stand in the Supreme Court, because we were trying for Mr. Harish Salve, but he is most of the time in London, and apparently he would argue online and all, which doesn't make much impact. So we've got Mr. Shekhar Nafde, one of the very eminent advocates, who had also fought one of our cases on application of Shops and Establishments Act to nursing homes. We said a nursing home is not a shop, and you better not apply the Shop and Establishment Act. So this case is coming up on the 12th of this month. Case will come up in Supreme Court, and we are very hopeful that we will have the pride, FAMC, AMC, we will have the pride of getting this thing in the statute books and getting Supreme Court to say, in fact, one of the judgments, namely the Lalita Kumari versus UP government judgment, it says that in case a police officer were to not follow the guideline to arrest a doctor, he himself should be arrested. He will be prosecuted. He will be fined. That judgment, we have quoted all these judgments. And with an eminent counsel, we are very hopeful. And this is what I was going to say, that this is one of the unfortunate things, that we doctors, we don't have the tenacity to fight. We don't have the tenacity. When everybody is earning so well, we are earning so well, our associations are not poor, and yet when it comes to spending money, I don't know what happens to doctors. No. Now, in fact, for this case, we were told that a lawyer, the Supreme Court advocate, will charge 15 lakh rupees. He said 15 lakh rupees, immediately we have to deposit in his account, then only they take up the account. So it's it's so surprising that associations are sitting on crores of rupees, and where it should be spent, where it is supposed to be spent. What can be a bigger cause than that? Please tell me. What is the use of banquets? What is the use of foreign trip to Egypt and so on? It's of no use. And I have always said that if an association cannot come to the assistance, to the aid of its member who is in distress, then the constitution of that association is not worth the paper on which it is written. Associations are not meant for social gathering. Let them do social gathering. I have no problem with that. But we should not lose focus. What is our idea? So this is what we have done. And 12th of, you can note down, 12th, this case, if it comes up for hearing, it will start. And we hope to get a landmark judgment saying that this is all contempt of court, despite, and we are telling Supreme Court that, sir, it is your insult. You are passed a judgment and they are not following. It's a contempt of court. And doctors are suffering. And a doctor who has a criminal case against him, it's unimaginable. And it breaks my heart to see. And I have seen 3 doctors commit suicide, AMC members who committed suicide. And because of police harassment, because the police, you know how they are. The Allahabad High Court in one of the judgments said, police in India are criminals in uniform. He said they are criminals in uniform. That is a fact. They just want money. They just want to harass and they frighten. There was a lady anesthetist. One patient died post anesthesia and that patient was from Dubai and they had a lot of money. They bribed the police and every time. And one day she consumed poison and died. It's horrible. It's just horrible. How we can live with that, I do not understand. So I think this is we have to understand what is the aim of our association. Social thing, please do that. Very good, intermixing. But we should not lose focus on that. Now, I'll give you another example. I'm sorry to say Dr. Hema Devakar is here, gynecologist. But I'll tell you what, 50 years I have spent in AMC. I can tell you stories which you'll have to be here till 7 o'clock in the evening. But I don't want to do that. But I'll tell you particularly, in one case, what happened, a doctor was charged for some offense under the MTP Act. Doctor had done MTP and they said they filed some case against her. And one of our very good advocates, Advocate Sailesh Naidu, who is Mumbai based, he told me, Dr. Kapoor, see, we will challenge this because if you go through the MTP Act, please go through the MTP Act. I don't know whether it is still there. It says anything done under this act, anything done in good faith, right? This will not be made as an offense. Now, when you are doing MTP, you are doing under good faith, is it not? You are not doing it to harm the patient. So he says, just like the government, if you read any government agreement or anything, they always say, anything done in good faith by this government officer will not be made an offense. So actually, that was the function of that clause. That was very, very useful clause. He said permanently we could have told them, see, either you change the act, but the act says done in good faith, you are not supposed to be proceeded against. And so at that time, our association was also very young and we didn't have much money. So we approached various associations. I approached the Gynec Association because they are the richest association. They are lots of money. So we told them, let's see, this is the thing. And this is MTP. This relates to gynecology, madam. This is please let us engage this lawyer. Let him fight on this ground. And he was confident. And they said, oh, first we'll have to have this meeting and then that meeting and the general body will pass and then funds issue and who will sanction and it will take time. And by the time we lost valuable time and nothing happened. So I'm saying, I'm not criticizing. I'm saying we must identify our weaknesses, where we are weak, why it is happening, why is we are not able to make a break. Second thing, unity. The biggest problem is we lack unity. Each of us, each association is doing fantastic job, wonderful job. Individually, we are doing wonderful job, but not together. We cannot, unless we do it together, nothing will happen. I can tell you that. We have to get together. And unfortunately, we are all doctors, big doctors, respected, big people, but we have what comes in there is the egos. We have huge egos. And everybody wants for personal glorification. We don't see the big cause. And I have always said that this unity index is my invention, by the way. I've got something called unity index. You may have never heard the word. That this unity index means the ability of a group of people to unite. That is the unity index. All right. Now, the unity index, this is Kapoor's law, which says it is the ability to unite is inversely proportional to the intelligence and the IQ of the members of that group. The more intelligent the people, like the doctors, the more intelligent, less the unity index is less chances that we will get together, because everybody has his own mind. Moment I say, let's do this, then everybody is intelligent and everybody brings up some objection. No, this is better and this is not better. And finally, nothing happens. As I told you, as it happened in the MTP thing, which we cannot come together. And that was one of the reasons why AMC thought that when the AMC model is working so well in Mumbai, that is working so well in Mumbai, and our main issue, the USP of our association was medical legal protection, because that is what bothers people most. Health insurance is okay, chalo, and all those things. But once you get a medical legal issue, a legal notice, a court notice, then you spend sleepless nights. And not only you, believe me, your family is affected. In fact, I have written an article on medical legal stress syndrome. It has not been studied properly here. What effect it has on the family of the doctor, on the children, on the family. In one case I saw, there was so much distress, the couple got divorced. Both, one was gynec and surgeon, and they had a big case going on against them. One obese lady died post-hysterectomy, and they were so hassled, they were fighting with each other, they divorced each other. And I have so many innumerable examples of the stress it has caused. So our USP was this, and we could get the insurance company to give us very special terms and conditions, because we now, like for example, the premium which our association pays, it's a group policy, and we pay something 8-9 crore rupees per year is the premium that is paid to the company. So that makes us like a corporate. All right, please try to understand. That makes like a corporate client. If the company is getting 9-10 crores, then they value you. And if we even make some unreasonable demand, they don't want to lose you, because I say we'll go to another company. So there is no scheme which gives you this kind of thing. Now, the most important thing, for example, a lot of people come up with saying so-and-so company has come up, they are offering this, they are going to pay less. They say your premium will be less than 30% and so on. So to which I say that no, I want a company who will charge me 10% more than I am paying, but give me 30% more what I am asking for. Now, for example, you ask these companies, out of in many cases, somebody has left a swab inside, somebody has left an artery forceps in the abdomen, or operated on the wrong limb, or several things which we call indefensible. There's no defense to that. You can't. We've got these very lately, 3-4 cases where these radiologists have done this, anomaly scan, and they have missed major heart defects and all. Babies were born, the normal scan is normal, and babies born with so many defects. We had number of cases. So what do? These are indefensible. There's no way the court is not going to award compensation. So court will award a much higher compensation. So what we do is we have an arrangement with the insurance that if we meaning the association feels that this is an indefensible case, there's no point in pursuing it. Why should the doctor be tortured for 10 years? The case is gone for 10 years. Why should the patient be tortured? Why don't we reach a settlement and say, all right, this has happened, have a discussion, and what is called the alternate dispute redressal mechanism, which is there all over the world. In USA, 80 to 85% cases are settled in this manner. They don't clog the courts. They don't go to the courts. They settle out of court. And we have settled so many cases out of court, which we have not allowed them to go to court. And the insurance company, of course, objected, because very often we have done settlement with the patient before going to court. Not the matter is not, we don't allow you to go to court. We say, okay, no, don't. Whereas the insurance company says, okay, sir, this is not out of court. Out of court means first the patient has to go to court and then you settle the out of court. So he said, all right, don't call it out of court. We call it pre-litigation, before going to court, which they are not very happy with, but we are making them doing it. So we say settle for 10 lakh, 15 lakhs, all right. Only thing 10% the doctor is supposed to pay, like 15 lakhs. So 1.5 lakh the doctor will have to contribute. That is his contribution, So, but still it's far less than 15 lakh if we had to pay. And so we've done that. So this is how I think, and why could we do that? Because there is power in numbers. Power in numbers. Now, because we have so many members with that, we have a bargaining power with them. We have a clout with them. And that is, same thing must be applied as far as our general problems of doctors is concerned. Now, to my mind, we are not going to the root causes. We are doing window dressing. We are putting Band-Aid when a massive surgery is required. We are doing Band-Aid treatment. That will not work. So one of the things, for example, is what associations ought to do, and which we've been trying, somehow not happening, that to do very actively try to improve the image of the association. That's the basic thing. Today, the image of the association is in shambles. Today, the moment I tell a patient, do an MRI, he starts thinking I'm going to get commission from them. Because why is he thinking that? Because it comes in the newspapers that these doctors take commission. Moment Dr. Hema says C-section is required, he starts thinking, just to make money, normal delivery ho jayega. Why? They want to earn money. That's why they are doing it. So our image has taken a beating. So we have to do a root cause analysis. And I had gone to a conference in Jaipur. IMA had organized a conference in Jaipur, very beautiful, huge conference, where Mr. Subramaniam Swamy had come, Hema Malini, they had invited. And there was this Chetan Bhagat, if you heard his name, this writer called Chetan Bhagat. And he spoke, and hats off to him. Really, he spoke what one of us should be speaking. He said, I feel ashamed that we treat our doctors in this manner. But he says, and he writes articles, many of his articles, he defends doctors from the heart, And what did he say? He said, but I'm sorry, you are not doing anything about it. Why is anybody else interested in you? Nobody can be more interested than you. You are not doing anything. He says, for example, today is the world of social media. He says, if I go on the social media, suppose somebody is medical something, either Association of Medical Consultants or AMC or violence against doctors or whatever. He says, and your association, your presence is not there in the social media. He said that even a teenager has got more followers on his thing than your association. Even a teenager has got more followers. You are not, you have to winnow, you have to put your case. And why is it, just try to think, why is it that civil society, I am saying, I have never understood that. Today they say this doctor did something wrong, okay. And then, now why is, when something obviously wrong has been done to a doctor, why civil society, where people have benefited from doctors, there are many persons whose lives have been saved, is it not? They have saved so many people's lives. Why are they silent? They are silent. They don't get up and say that no nonsense, why these doctors are being harassed. They don't. So something is wrong with us. We have to be the pacemaker. We cannot expect others to come and do something for us. So I think that's what we need to do. We need associations to come together. We have to dissolve our egos. If we do that, I say, all right, XYZ, you be the president. Your paper name should come in the paper. Your photo should come. Doesn't matter. But let us do something. So unless we do that, and now that is why I do hope and pray this our petition in the Supreme Court, if we are successful, it will give a big boost to us. Because otherwise, like some private person small association filed a case against the CPA 19, and And what did he say? He said that this new CPA, it does not say healthcare, it is not included. So doctors are not included. We should be removed from the CPA. And a judge like Justice Chandrachud, very good judge, who is known to us also, he's from Mumbai. And will you believe, in 5 minutes, he dismissed the case in 5 minutes. He didn't hear also. He said, this is a rubbish case, that you are wrongly come here, you are wasting the time of the court. And this is one small organization which filed a case. So we don't even have that much coordination. If we do want to file, let us spend money. We don't want to spend money. We want free lunches. In banquets, if you give free lunch, the attendance is very good. If you say pay 2,000 rupees, attendance is very low. Or they are looking to the pharmaceutical companies. It hurts me. Why are we so poor? Are we so poor? We can't spend 2,000 rupees. It is unbelievable. So I think we need to improve our image and at a collective level. And today everything is so professional. In Mumbai, we were trying to harass, trying to appoint an agency. These are all image building associations are there. Now let us not feel shy of it. They are the ones who from time to time, they ask this. Now I think in AMC also they are shying. No, he's asking too much money and this and that. You throw peanuts, you will get monkeys. You have to spend money. How can you say, we don't want to spend money and we want others to do something for us? And this professional agency says from time to time, articles will come. These are paid, what are called editorials and paid articles, which will come, which will tell the good side. I got some of my articles published. Of course, that was on merit. They published it on their own, where I said that the article said, how to select your doctor. That was the article. I'm writing now. See, we have to communicate one-to-one with the public. So I wrote that article, and we have to do it very cleverly, because moment you start there, people are smart. Moment you start saying that, oh, doctors are being harassed, this, that, they say, oh, you are going to say you are being harassed. What about you harassing us? So I said, how to select a good doctor. I have written an article, and I have written what all things, and I have written some things which people may not like. I said, if you're a doctor, you're telling the history, he's not writing your notes, he's not a good doctor. Because after even 2 days, he will not remember what you told him. If he's not documenting, he's not a good doctor. Then the GPs, they go and do dressing without even washing their hands. If your doctor is not washing his hands before doing your dressing, not wearing gloves, he's not a good doctor. But I did that, and then simultaneously, I just turned over and said, let's see, please go to the doctor with full faith, because faith is an important ingredient of healing. If you don't have faith, you will not get healed, And but once you go to the doctor, then don't mistrust him. Then he's doing it for your benefit. Then trust him, give him a chance to do it. You have to be aware. I'm not saying that blindly you follow him, but if you don't trust, don't go to that doctor. Why have you gone to him? And so many things. Now, so there are many things that we have to convey to the general public in their language which they understand. Now, simple thing like a drug reaction. Suppose somebody gives diclofenac injection and the patient gets a reaction and something happens. Then I have said the public must know that, look here, there is no way the doctor did not manufacture diclofenac. There is no way I can know whether you are sensitive or not sensitive. Only thing is, we must take those precautions which I tell people is, you ask for a history of any past allergy. You should document that. If you've done that there is no history of any known history of allergy, etc., and something happens, then obviously you have a good defense. You can defend yourself. And so eventually we have to reach out to people, improve our image, come together. If we don't come together, we have no hope. If we talk in different languages, in different directions, and the politicians, see, they are the people, most unreliable people. And that is what happened in CPA 2019. The politician, he's no more now. He promised them. He said, I will remove healthcare services from the your CPA. And they believed him, and they started celebrating. And they crackers, they lit crackers and all that, and said, now we are out of the Consumer Protection Act. And the fact was, he was just playing to the gallery. They are not reliable, these people. We should not rely on them. We ought to take the legal route, as we have done here, and engage real good people, spend money. No, we did not hesitate. 15 lakh rupees immediately we have transferred to that lawyer, because there is in the courts, the face presentation is very important. Depends on the face who is arguing your case. Then the judges think it's an important case. So all that we did, and we do hope. And so it's my sincere appeal that we should sink our egos. I have said so many times, and somehow, I don't know, IMA is a huge organization, but somehow they are hesitant. They think that some other organization will get credit or what, I don't know. They don't. I have tried my best to get them on the same page, that you be the leader, no problem. We all help, we all contribute, but it's not happening. So unless that happens, it's unrealistic to imagine that our problems are going to go away. They're going to increase. The nursing homes today, what is happening to the nursing homes? They virtually are strangulating them. They have the fire compliance rules. They want everywhere. I have also put now these smoke detectors, water tank, the electric audit, every 6 months electric audit. They are literally strangulating you. The pollution control people, they are saying, even a 10-bed nursing home, you have to put up a effluent treatment plant, because whatever liquid waste is going, you have to treat it as if it's a factory or an industry. It's unbelievable. Now, even a thing like this, the only thing this government is afraid of, they are afraid of two. One is the law, the courts. They're afraid of courts and the media to some extent. So we have to make sure, we have to understand how to reach out and solve our problem. Our aim is to solve the problem. And that is why I would say we lose our focus sometimes. Good thing now, AMC, we have started tree plantation and something very good, I'm saying. But I'm saying that should be a side issue. Main issue should be what is bothering us, what they are doing, of course, even for the fire, AMC Mumbai, they have met the fire government and minister and so on. But, we have to do more of that. And unless we do that, and that is why when doctors come together, when an initiative like that, it gladdens my heart that we are coming together. Because really, to unite doctors, I have found it's very difficult to unite doctors. It's very difficult to unite doctors. But if we don't do that, we cannot. And people felt shy when I said, let it be called a trade union. Because Mr. Datta Samant, the famous labor leader in Mumbai, there was who had done the textile strike and all. He was a doctor. He passed MBBS from GS Medical College. And he was a friend of one of our colleagues. He was his classmate. He said, one day, we said, let's arrange a lecture by Dr. Datta Samant as to how doctors should unite. But they said, Datta Samant, no, he was a bad word. He was a trade union leader doing strikes and whatnot. I said, we don't have to listen to what he's saying, but please understand what he's saying. Unless you are aggressive, I said, even airline, we are white collar doctors, we are great people, we can't call ourselves union. What about the pilots? You see, anything happens, the pilots say, we are not flying, go to hell. The mill owners have got a federation, and we doctors are so great that no, we feel shy. People will think these guys are being like a trade union. So I think this is what I've spoken too much, I think. So I must give a few other people a chance to speak. But these are my thoughts. And we are always available. Anything, at least in Mumbai, we are making an attempt. Go to the courts, go to the media, have a terrific social media presence, show that you are good people, that you are doctors are also being harmed, and admit that there are bad doctors. And this is another thing. What they say, you don't do auto-regulation. why Consumer Protection Act came? You are not doing auto regulation. The medical councils have failed us badly. They have failed us. That the black sheep, we have to admit that there are black sheep, there are bad doctors, there is no question about it. And because of them, we are getting a bad name. So I think that we must do an internal cleansing. We have to also isolate them and name them and shame them. So if we do all that, I'm sure we will achieve. And once again, congratulations for this initiative. And thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr.
Dr. Sushil, you're muted. Sushil ji?
Yeah. I just wanted to thank Dr. Lalit. I mean, you spoke from the heart, you spoke passionately, and you spoke a lot of sense. That's more important. And we're all delighted as the theme of the workshop seminar today is about working together. When two organizations or more than two organizations join together, it should be greater than the sum of the parts. And we need to unite not only between us as doctors, but between various organizations representing doctors and hospitals elsewhere, because united we stand, divided we fall. So thank you very much. I just wondered if anyone has any important questions for Dr. Lalit, because you're not going to get the opportunity again.
Sushil ji, I want to ask sir something. Sir, once upon a time, they said when GO order, the government order is there that the doctors cannot be arrested. And they said you always keep that order with you. And if somebody comes to arrest, you just show that and they will not arrest. Is that true? Or how do we deal with arrests which are happening despite the law?
No. You see, first of all, that person should be part of our organization. He must inform his organization. And moment the police, even recently it has happened, moment the police come to know that this person is not alone, that there are people behind, and Dr. Ashok Shukla has not come, he has come, he's here. But it happened in his area where he had himself gone, and the 3-4 of our members went, and it made all the difference. Then they don't talk all this thing, and showing the order is of no use. I say one thing. You tell him, please follow the due process of law. You know the order, and just indicate that you know that you are supposed to be referring the matter to the medical board. You know about it. And let me tell you, they are bullies. And let me also tell you, bullies are cowards. Bullies are cowards. They go on bullying you, we'll do this. Okay, all right, do this. All right, please do and show me. So, and we did that in one case. In District Raigad, one doctor was put behind bars for 48 hours, despite, and then of course, and we went to the court. We went to Bombay High Court, filed a case against the police inspector who had filed. And what was their defense? They said, they told the court, sir, no, we did not arrest. We just kept him to save him from the mob. Otherwise the mob, we were worried for him. But the High Court said 1 lakh rupees fine to that inspector to be paid from his personal salary and not the government. So but what happens is, because of our fear, we give in. Either we give in. And it has happened in many cases. In spite of saying quietly they pay some money and they want to get rid of the problem. But if they do, then the association is behind you. All right, suppose he arrests. Nothing's going to happen. We go to the association will go to the court, or if we have to go on your behalf, we will spend the money. You don't worry about it. And see that in one case, even again, Gynec case, some anticipatory bail, they had to pay 1 lakh rupees. That was paid by the association. We paid the anticipatory bail amount. We have got today very good lawyers, excellent lawyers we have got, who are with us for 33 decades. They are like family members now. They don't behave like ordinary lawyers. In Delhi, in medical council, in Delhi, we have 1 or 2 extremely good lawyers. And we are willing, we should spend money. What is the money there for? What are you keeping the money? You don't have a trip. No, one trip you don't have, but you help that one doctor. So order and all has no meaning. But we have to show that we are behind this doctor.
Thank you, sir. I think
Hello.
Bharti has a question. Bharti?
Dr. Lalit, as rightly put across by all of them, you have spoken from your heart and you have truly put it across saying that together we need to stay united. And your point on our doctors spending money on unwanted things like banquets and fellowship is where we need to stop and utilize that money to help our members.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. And sir, this medical board, as you said, most often when I come from a very small town in Karnataka. So most often, though we have a task force, when they do a few instances, they have arrested doctors and the same answer as you said, they will try to defend saying that we were trying to protect the doctor from the mob. So that we have somehow tried to get in some SOPs in place. But the other point is in our districts, many districts do not have a medical board. They say that before they put a case on file the FIR on the doctor, they need to take the opinion of the medical board. But we have seen that in many districts, we don't have a medical board in place.
And that is, I'll tell you what, you are right. Many places, government or big hospitals are not there. Even in Mumbai, in Maharashtra, in Thane, for example, they refer to the civil surgeon. Whoever is the civil surgeon. In absence of the government, they refer to the civil surgeon. Now, these medical boards are another story. You one day arrange another program because the time will be too less to talk about this medical board. They are another thing. We have to fight against them also. We have to fight against these medical boards also, because I don't know if anybody is from the government institution or what, but sorry to say, they have a feeling because they are in the government. The doctors, the nephrologist in the government, right? He thinks he's a government. They think that these doctors in private practice are minting money. Okay? And I'm very, very pained to tell you that there is corruption among there also. So that is another story where your own doctor brother, own doctor colleague will expect money, say, I'll give a good report that there was no negligence, because on that is a very vital report. If the board says there was no negligence, the police has to close the file immediately. The end of story. But they also realize, and we have got some lot of horror stories. In one case, again, gynec case, they said negligence cannot be ruled out. What is the negligence cannot be ruled out? You know, so for the police, if the word negligence is there, that is enough. Again, we are fighting against that. The board must say whether it not just say there was negligence or no, whether negligence was gross or simple. Negligence can be, the court has defined as gross or simple. If it is simple negligence, then there is no criminal case. But they don't do that. They either just say we feel doctor was negligent, or they say they even could be negligent, and they ought to say that okay, but there was no gross negligence, there is no criminality. Recently, one case we successfully fought in Delhi. Our advocate is too good. He saved the doctor from arrest by saying that medical council has said yes, there was some negligence, but he got the council to there's no criminality in it. So they said no, there's no question of arrest. The court said there's no question of arrest. So there's lots of things to be done which we can do scientifically, legally, systematically, intelligently, and not just saying have a morcha, and that doesn't help. Nothing is going to help.
Yes, Dr. Divakar and then Dr. Ashok Shukla.
Sir, you told there is out of the court settlement is good, but some of the advocate friends, they tell don't go out of the court settlement because you'll be paying more and you'll be losing a lot of money. Come to the court and go fight the case, like that they will advise.
No, see, I tell you one thing, lawyers hate out of court settlement. And you know why they hate? Because the case stops there. You know, if the case is over, then the lawyer has to go home, is it not? They don't like out of court settlement. Okay. So what we do is we do it systematically. In fact, last Sunday, I was at Aurangabad MGM Medical College, where the president of the National Consumer Forum was there, and very top-ranking judges were there. And I spoke just like I spoke today. I said that your CPA harmed the healthcare system, and they appreciated. I said it has harmed the healthcare system because of your giving crores of compensation. Doctors are leaving the country. They are going to Canada, Australia, UK, America. You're losing doctors. The doctors are retiring early. They're retiring early. Because I don't want now at this age a hassle of medical legal. Medical students, the bright students are not going for medicine because they don't want to go and get beaten up, you know. And we are now, patient is suffering. We are practicing defensive medicine, where I would have done 3 investigations. I am doing 20 investigations because I don't want to be told afterwards that, oh, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, should something happen. And in USA, $600 billion they are spending because of defensive medicine, which means unnecessary tests, unnecessary referrals, you know, and not taking critical cases. You are afraid, you say, Baba, go to bigger, I don't want to treat. And this I said in front of those judges, and they really understood how it has harmed the system, you know. So I think, but that's not true. What Dr. Divakar, we make a full-proof MOU, which in fact those judges only told me, I pointed out this to them. They said, we will show you a way out where you can come and register this agreement in our court, put one stamp, and then that is final. There's nothing more the patient can ever ask you, you know. And it's a very good MOU, which our lawyers are now expert in filing, which say that the patient says that you have explained to me, and now I have understood that you are not negligent. I thought you were negligent, but now as an amicable settlement on moral grounds, I feel that you suffered, so I'm paying you 5 lakh rupees, and that's the end of the story, and nothing will happen further. We are improving that, making it more. So lawyers, please, they are going to do that. It's like orthopedic surgeon would like somebody to slip outside and fall down, because he get a case. So
arbitration, it will come. Arbitration clause can be applied.
Dr. Ashok Shukla, I think this is the last question, because we've got the panel discussion after that. Dr. Shukla.
So Dr. Divakar sir and Dr. Kapoor sir already knows that we are not settling all cases out of the court on a request from the doctor. Those cases which we feel that these are indefensible, Dr. Kapoor sir himself, there is a panel, they go through the merits and about the cases, and they feel that this case, like a wrong amputation, leaving a mop inside, gallbladder, they feel this is not going to be defensible in the court, highest chances, and that time, and this out of the court money is paid by the insurance company. So it has to be conveyed, otherwise the insurance company will say, you are paying all the money, we will not be able to support you. And the second thing was about the board. The Kunal Saha in the Supreme Court matter had told that who are the best people to know whether the negligence has been there or not, doctor themselves. So why not the Medical Council of India that time was asked to create the expert board. But then the National Medical Council came. Then there was again a petition in the Supreme Court which was going to be filed saying that NMC is not forming the board. The moment that petition was going to get locked in, the NMC has now started the process of making the medical boards, irrespective whether it's a remote place, whether it's a medical college, not, they have a pro forma. If you go to the National Medical Council website, it is there. And I think so because of the COVID, it got delayed. Every place there will be a medical board. But only problem, as Dr. Kapoor sir has already mentioned, we as an association people have to regularly call them in our conferences and discuss so that they don't use those ambiguous words, which creates a lot of problem for the doctor. And later the doctor proves himself innocent, but the mental trauma and the stress creates a lot of problem and panic.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ashok. I think we need to move on to the panel discussions if people are happy. And I'm sure there are lots of people wanting to ask more questions to Dr. Lalit Kapoor. Maybe we will have another opportunity as well, Dr. Kapoor, especially the out-of-court settlements and the avenues to that. So we'll move on to the panel discussions now. to be moderated by Dr. Hema Divakar. I'm sure Dr. Hema Divakar is well known to all of you. She is the past president of FOXI as well. Plus, she's the chairperson, chief executive of the Artist Organization, chair of the Well Women Healthcare Committee of the Federation of International Gynecologists and Obstetricians Association, dean of the College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, past president, as I said, past vice chair. I mean, I can go on and on and on. But more importantly, I think it's important to get into the panel discussions now. So, Dr. Hema Divakar, with those few words, over to you to conduct the panel discussions now. Thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you, Sushilji, and thank you, Dr. Gopinath, for chairing the first session. And I must say that though Dr. Lalit Kapoor was quoting about why can't we pay and the expenses, etc., I think, sir, today your deliberation has been so invaluable that how many ever lakhs we pay, it will not match the kind of content that you have placed before us, which has truly made us very seriously introspect why we are the way we are and why can't we, do better. And very many times you said, let's come together. And I'm so happy that we have coined the title of this entire show as Better Together. So to connect and collaborate, we are very, very grateful to both the organizations for joining hands. And I'm sure that practical discussions which would ensue webinar after webinar will make people realize that, yes, it is better that they are a part of a big canvas so that the synergies are there and the voices are amplified. So that it's in itself gives a lot of courage. And to Sheetal, could you just quickly display the slides of my very distinguished panelists who are my very beloved friends as well. There has been no match fixing because I have not told them what I'm going to ask. It's just, everybody is wanting to place their point of view of what they have done before and what more they could do. So my very good friend, Dr. Ashok Shukla, in a meeting in Mumbai on one such occasion where Lalit Kapoor sir mentioned MTP. So it was a program on MTP Connect, where we wanted to bring some nuances of the act itself and the do's and don'ts and violence against doctors and situations like that. When we got into a conversation, we said we have to get the AMC and AHPI together and discuss more for the benefit of both the organization. Ashok is a consultant, OBGYN and a medical legal expert, president-elect at the AMC, co-convener of NOAH AMC, advisor, IMA, MS Medical Legal Cell member of the MOGS. I think the Mumbai branch is far ahead and stronger than many other branches. And Dr. Divakar and Gopinath, I would urge you to give us more insights into how we can make the Bangalore chapter as strong. So Dr. G.V. Divakar, who is the managing director at the Divakar Specialty Hospital, last 20 years, every ophthalmology conference session, he's always been talking about the medical legal aspects. We were one of the first batch students from the National Law School University to do the post-graduation in medical law and ethics, where we pressurized Professor Jogarao and team to start this course for us because we wanted to understand more. He's also the managing trustee at the Divakar Service Trust. Presently, the senior professor on the academic front, the senior medical faculty at the Sankarai Hospital. And previously, he served as the head of department of ophthalmology, both in the Ambedkar Medical College and for more than 2 decades at the Ramaya Medical College, Bengaluru. Rashmi Srivastava is a great value add to HPI as an executive committee member. She's the vice president of the group quality and new initiatives at the famous Narayana Health, and she's had her master's in hospital administration with more than 2 decades experience. And I believe that right from the start, she has been into the quality journey. looking forward to excellence in whatever she does, and through her, the whole team at the Narayana does, involved in many new digital initiatives, and she is a certified professional in the healthcare quality from the National Association of the Healthcare Quality. So needless to say, I will be asking Rashmi many things about the quality. And last but not the least, my ever-willing, evergreen, ever-beloved friend, Dr. Bharti Rajshekar, who is also holding the prestigious post of the Honorary Secretary at the Karnataka State Chapter of OBGYNs. As Dr. Kapoor said, OBGYNs is a very, very large specialist organization with more than 40,000 members, with 3,500 plus being in the state of Karnataka alone, who come together on various occasions for continuing medical education programs, and well, of course, the banquets also, which now needs a very serious rethink on how better we invest our time and efforts. She is the KPMEA state vice president, and she, as she herself has said, she hails from Hassan and is the medical director at the Secure Hospital. She is very, very active in the other stakeholder organizations as well. The IMA Karnataka State, she's been the past vice president, Indian Red Cross, through which she's doing a lot of community service, and she is also the member of Hassan PCPNDT committee. So we are now going to be embarking on a new thought process in this panel, which I've said the laws may exist, people kind of have a perception of what to do, but what is the ground reality when any of us are approached? Can you help us through any of the organizations that you are involved with? When that question comes, we have certain backgrounds, sometimes which fail to justify why we are not able to do what we are expected to do. Okay? So my first question is to Rashmi. 20 years through the quality journey, okay? And if quality service is what the patient expects, where do you think are the barriers and challenges? Because the stamp of quality is supposed to be from NABH, which in itself is, since last so many years it's been in existence, but why is everybody not walking their way towards that journey and getting a stamp of NABH? And if that reinforces the faith in the public, in the community, that this is a quality certified hospital, and therefore we know that the protocols and processes are in order, and we can blindly trust this. Is it one of the key requirements where the actions within the teams of the hospital will minimize the litigations? And if that quality culture has to be instituted, as the head of this whole initiative at Narayana, what has been your experience? Because how it can translate into the conduct in small and medium-sized hospital, where we may not have a quality team, we may not have a president, vice president of quality, we have no time to teach, we are always short of staff. So anybody who comes with 2 hands and 2 legs, we tend to take them and employ them, and then quality seems, a distant future. So Rashmi. Rashmi, you're muted. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Hema and Dr. Sushil, for giving me opportunity to come on this platform. And I know there are a lot of senior people and eminent speaker, but still I'll try to put forward my point with my experience. And before that, thank you, Dr. Lalit Kapoor. It was very good insight. I was not aware of a lot of things, what happens in association and about medical legals. It was really enlightening and, very insight discussion with you. So thank you for, giving us this. So coming to ma'am, your question about quality. So in Narayana, we started our quality journey, around 2007. And where we first decided to go for accreditation, where nobody was aware that, what this accreditation means and what is it's going to bring in India, because that's the first time we were the 7th hospital who was going for this. And now we have, continued with a lot of improvement journey in Narayana, and with national and international accreditation, multiple things we have undergone, and we have seen the changes, what has brought in our organization. But of course, as you said, we had always a very large team. We had different departments who were helping with us in putting the quality systems in place. We have separate HR, separate legal, who's helping us in, building up everything, right? But now, even if you look at, entire global scenario of healthcare, the healthcare system is imposed with a lot of things, a lot of burdens, right? With aging population, with government regulations, the way the technology is changing. And, most recently our COVID-19 pandemic, and as now earlier in the previous discussion, there's a lot of things happening because consumers are aware and about the medical legal things, right? So these all can be taken care to a certain extent with the putting, basic quality systems in place, right? And even if you look at like WHO statistics, which they've released in 2019, so the patient harm has become almost like 14th leading cause in India, and their prediction is around 42.7 million across adverse event, which is going to happen annually when the patient is going to stay in the hospital, right? So it has a multiple thing, not about only negligence or anything, it depends like what kind of capacity and, sustainability we have built it across the healthcare, right? So if you look at like 3-4 things, apart from accreditation, which we are supposed to do to make sure that we have we can deliver a quality healthcare. So first thing where it comes, like, I just want to highlight on 3-4 areas, which can definitely help us.
Right.
And apart from accreditation, putting, providing a quality healthcare or a safe healthcare to our patients. So first thing, what is like about the skilled healthcare workers, which is very, very essential. And if we just, I have heard a lot of places and read that if we don't have a skilled healthcare worker in the hospital is just like a building, and, your ambulance is like a vehicle, to make everything patient safe and to provide a patient's care, we need all skilled healthcare worker. And we know there's a global shortage of healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Be it a nurses or a doctors. Morning also we had a discussion about, shortage of our doctors and, in PG courses or DNB, or about the nurses, right? So we know there is a global shortage. We all are aware of this issue. We know there is a lot of attrition, a lot of issues with retention of the skilled healthcare worker. So what we are supposed to do? So that is something, which we have to think, very much as a collaborative process, not only at like private organization level or at an organization level. At a country level, we should have some kind of, or maybe at the association level, some kind of work. We know that, a lot of associations are all also working on retention of these skilled healthcare workers, or, producing more skilled healthcare workers. But whatever it is, we have not done enough. So there is a lot of opportunity to do more. And then what kind of the skill development, a lot of courses are happening, which is helping definitely our hospital to, support our skilled healthcare workers. So that is something which we are already seeing the results.
So Rashmi, I just want to
Yes.
interrupt you and ask you
Yeah.
here, when you say skilled providers,
Yeah.
okay? Anybody enters your hospital, whatever eligibility is there, but you recognize that they're not skilled enough, and then you train them to skill and change the quality behavior. And now you're suggesting that if a critical mass of already skilled providers through other organizations are available, it may be easy for us to employ them with that certification, so that at least we are aware that basic something is fulfilled. Is that is my
Right,
understanding correct?
Yeah, because if we train a lot of skilled healthcare worker from different, I think you're also running a program so they can come to the hospital and join. So, we, if I take a fresh nurse now, so I have to spend a lot of time to build up that competency, which I need to, for her to provide a safe care, right? But if they're trained outside with some reputed association or an organization, then it becomes very easy for us to employ those people in the organization with a particular certification. So it reduces the training burden for the organization, and we get people who can be directly employed in the organization, and we save our time, and we can, provide a better care to the patients. So that is something, it's very, very important. And I think all of us should be working collectively and providing this skilled workforce for the healthcare. So it can help hospitals, it can help, primary health center, or maybe any level of, hospital. So we can employ directly, and then we can provide the safe care. That is one. And second, I also believe, and as a Narayana, we are also working in a great level about the technology interventions, right? So technology intervention, we know that when there is a shortage of the people who are providing patient care, then when the technology is interfacing, then a lot of manual, we can save time, right? So morning also, when Dr. Atul was here, we were discussing about remote ICUs, remote care management, where, machines can be linked directly with your AI, and then we get a lot of clinical decision support. And of course, I mean, we know that the technology is expensive, and it is very difficult to, provide to all the smaller and medium hospitals. But, as a together, as a community, or maybe as a country-led improvement, we can always work on the technology intervention, and which can be provided to all mid-size and smaller hospitals, like, some kind of sample or model EMR, or maybe, some kind of ICU module or a clinical decision system, which can be implemented across all this smaller hospitals. So that will definitely, reduce that. I mean, all this digital intervention will reduce the manual interface, and then, of course, we'll be getting a lot of time for patient care. So that also will definitely enhance your, quality care and patient safety. And of course, one important thing which I'm also been trying from a lot of, from the quality standpoint also, that we don't have any benchmark in India. I mean, we don't have any database where I can compare my data with the Indian Healthcare Organization. So if currently I have around 60, 70 KPIs, but where do I compare? I compare it with external or maybe some international benchmark, which is not giving me an appropriate, benchmarking or appropriate validation of my performance, whether I'm doing good or bad or what, right? But I'm sure NMEH is working. They are, taking quarterly data from us, but still we don't have any kind of database which gives us, a proper validation of performance of the hospital. And plus, we don't have any, kind of shared learning and participation platform. We've created associations. I think HPI was there. Kaho is also there, which they are trying to, organize a lot of training program and the courses, whether this shared learning or, good practices can be shared. But I don't think so is working out enough, because if we have done an innovation in our hospital, which is saving cost or providing quality healthcare without, without producing any harm, or I can prevent all avoidable harm to the patient, then definitely that thing has to be shared across in some platform for all the hospital to adopt. Of course, there can be some variation, but at least they can be a shared learning platform, which I feel is a current need, so all of us can work towards it, and then have some kind of shared learning or some participation, which, we can put it our best practices.
So thank you, Rashmi. Your point brings us back together on the point of shared learning, that we're better together. So it is in resonance with our mindset as on today, and I hope it will continue in future also. And the skills will not only involve the technical skills for patient care, but also the communication skills, the documentation, the tech savvy adaptation, and everything that goes along as something which is not so objective and tangible, but it makes a lot of difference to the patients as well. And the main point I wanted to drive in is small and medium-sized nursing homes in-house this great kind of training and innovations perhaps is very challenging, and we need them to connect with the other bigger platforms in a common manner. They will actually deliver these so that anybody can use it to their advantage. So I think we should work towards that as well. So thank you very much for your very useful inputs. We shift back to our hero, Dr. Ashok Shukla, who I want to ask two different things to Ashok, because now you're well in tune and very committed and very involved in the thick of activities of AMC. I want you to tell us that whether AMC will cater only to the medical legal cases in the sense which are treatment or therapy based, or it will also give a helping hand with some of the employees harassing the institution unnecessarily with putting a false case towards non-payment of salaries, for example, or harassment by the employer. All are those categories also included in tackling? And can you also cite just one or two examples of the pit positives that the AMC has had, which we can learn from today's discussion and showcase it to all our members here, saying about a story that they can relate to, that this is, so very real, and it makes us feel that we should also join AMC for the best benefits that we can have. Ashok.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Hema, madam. I still remember visiting to Bangalore for the cutting edge long time back. Yeah, some success stories. I'll just enumerate maybe one or two. One is like a staircase issue in one of the court case where a hospital lost the case because it was on the second floor. And suddenly after that, all the hospitals, irrespective since how many years they were under threat by the corporation saying that we will cancel your license because it's the High Court has given the judgment. And AMC took the initiative. First, we tried to meet all the municipal commissioner, their assistant, the chief secretary, and they were not that much supporting that. They told it's the court's order. Please follow. We cannot reverse the court order. And there is extreme shortage of doctors. The way how they resist. There is extreme shortage of doctors in the government hospital. Shut down your private hospitals, go to government hospitals, they'll be very happy. This was the answer they used to give. And here the main challenge occurs then when as an association member, you have to shut down your OPD. Because the chief secretary is not going to meet at your time leisure. You have to adjust. So they, as Dr. Kapoor sir always says, members who have fire in their belly, who are really interested to work for the members, they will only bolega, okay, I'll shut down my OPD today because I have to go 11 o'clock and I'll wait 2 hours patiently. And then when I was waiting, and then chief secretary gave me only say 20 seconds. He told, I am at the lift, till the lift comes, you talk to me. And then we came to a conclusion that we have to meet to all the politicians, and now the politicians only can pressurize the system. So then we divided, we met all the political parties in Mumbai, and then they gave the pressure and veto power to the municipal commissioner, who in the standing committee, because the power given by the politicians, then they waived off till 2012, 13, whatever the number is, whichever hospital exists, that hospital will remain, and then the things get then this is the way how a member feels, why I should become member of the association. I am going to get benefit. One more, there was a NA tax. Suddenly a particular corporation, AMC in Mumbai has 8 or 9 corporations, different. Thana Corporation, Mira Bhayandar Corporation, Mumbai Corporation. Every corporations have their own local issues also. Suddenly one of the corporations issued notices of lakhs and lakhs rupees to all hospital owners and consultants, saying that you have to pay NA tax on your hospital. Now we are already having so many taxes, registration, XYZ. As an AMC, we spoke to all these hospitals, make them file a letter to us that we are ready to be on paper, and then we'll go to the court. We went against the government in the court, and the court gave the officer option that either you withdraw the circular, I'll give the judgment. And he withdrew the circular. No NA tax to be paid by the that makes the member feel positive that the association was standing there. In the local issues where the employees issues, as you said, sometimes the employees file the complaint against the doctor or harass. We try to help the doctors by giving them proper guidance about the salary, appointment letters. A lot of time in private hospitals, they don't give appointment letters. Small 10-bedded hospital. No, she's working from 10 years, my staff, I never. But then you have not given any appointment letter. So do's and don'ts you have not mentioned. So we guide them. We tell them in our programs and panels, these are the ways. What is what is Vishaka committee? What is the Women's Safety Protection Act? Do you have so we guide them. And if the matter goes to the court, if the criminal, we will still guide them. But there are some time they have to also have to pay some amount of the charges, the court fees. Otherwise, association is always there. But if there is a unique case, as Dr. Kapoor sir said, we stand, pay from our side to protect the member, and then the other members feel ki here the association went out of the way, as sir told ki 1 lakh the fee of the anticipatory bill. Only one more POSCO case which already sir was mentioning, where we went to the police station because the gynecologist called from the police station that I might get arrested. Kapoor sir spoke to the police officer. We tried our network and spoke to the higher officials. Don't arrest. And then we make and cross-checked whether she's getting arrested, because how police makes is baito, bulayega, and suddenly at 7 p.m. in the evening, they'll say, madam, where are you going? We have arrested you. And now there is no option. So we saw to that she went home, and then she was called for the statement. That time I and 2 more AMC colleagues were sitting in the police station, guiding her, spoke, and then till he gave her statement and was at home, we cross-checked and now we are following her. So this is the way, then only members, now this gynecologist, whoever she meets, she will say, I was saved because of AMC. And
excellent.
And then only the new members will join. Otherwise, what members says is, itna fees hum kyun bharega? 5,000, 10,000, like Foxy, MOJS, it's huge amount of registration charges. AMC, huge amount, as you tell, ki medico legal. So these are the all other, there are n number of other violence issues also. I can speak there. In Panvel, there is a violence issue, which is around 60 or 80 kilometers from Mumbai where we stay. And there was an attack, a doctor was assaulted. Within 3 hours, we around 6 people from AMC were there. We cancelled OPD, we removed our car, Innova, we were there. Till 2 o'clock in the night, we were sitting with all those doctors, created confidence in them. And we saw to that the next day, the culprits were arrested. 23 days, they were not able to get the bail. We were all united and we followed up. And then immense amount of membership drive happened in that area. They also felt, we gave an idea of top security. Kapoor sir can brief up how to give an extra bodyguard to those hospitals temporarily where they are under threat that tomorrow the mob might come or some politician might come and pressurize, withdraw the case.
Thank you so much, Ashok. I think sir wants to make a point.
Yes,
Lalit
sir.
And one story I can also narrate quickly. I won't waste time. There was this again gynecologist who had bought a sonography machine, quite a costly machine. It was Japanese made. The headquarters of the company was in Chennai. I don't know, remember the name of the company. And he bought this, and within 3 months it started malfunctioning. So he called them. Somebody came, did something. In 7 days, again it was malfunctioning. Then he said, we'll change this part. Then again it did work. Within the guarantee period itself, within 1 year, 3 times, 4 times it happened. And after that, they stopped taking his phone calls. And then they wrote a letter saying that you have to buy a new probe and you change this part. You'll have to pay 20,000. He said, why should I pay? It's not even a year since I bought the machine. And they just won't listen to him. And then he contacted AMC. And I'll tell you what we did. Now that he was desperate. He said, what to do now? What do I do? I mean, such a hard-earned money I spent is not working. They're not doing anything. So AMC, on our letterhead, we wrote a letter to the Japanese company. We wrote a letter to Japan. And by email, in those days there was a fax also. Fax, email, letter to the Japanese management. And I drafted the letter. And I said that, sir, this is what has happened. Your machine was purchased through so-and-so agent. Machine is not working. And the doctor has lost so much money because so many patients are lost. For days together, machine is not working. And they are not even attending. So we are an association of 10,000 specialist doctors, 1,500 hospitals. So we would only like to know very politely that what is the problem and is something going to be done, because otherwise we would like to inform our 10,000 members that this company, you better be careful, they don't do anything. All right. And for 10 days, nothing happened. I didn't know whether anything will happen. After 10 days, this doctor excitedly phoned me. He said, they are coming, getting me a new, better machine, not charging any extra money, which is color or something. And I got the new machine, And then the local Indian agent, like our Indian mentality, he said, "Arey, you got a new machine. हमको कुछ दे दो ना पैसा." You know, that तुमको तो एक थप्पड़ मारेगा, पैसा क्या देगा? So that doctor was so delighted, something which would not have happened on an individual basis, and that is our letterhead work. And we only said that we are not saying anything. You don't want to do anything, don't do. But 10,000 doctors, specialists, we will inform them that this is what has happened, and please be careful of this company. They didn't write anything. They immediately replaced the machine, a superior machine. So that is the power of numbers, power of unity. You know,
Absolutely.
small thing. But then, you know, it would have never happened otherwise.
No, but I think, power of unity and the Lalit Kapoor law that you have told is really, always to be remembered. Before I go to Bharti, I want to ask Dr. Sushil Chatana that every executive committee meeting that we have in AHPI Karnataka chapter, again and again and again, we discuss about the fire safety issues, and you're doing this, that, and the other. So can we ask you, and through you to our experts here, what is our situation here? What are we trying to do, and what better can we do together? Sushilji.
Yeah, I mean, fire safety is a difficult one. I think Dr. Lalit Kapoor also referred to it. It's a difficult one because we've had lots of publicity over the last few months around fire issues in major hospitals with lots of people having died, etc. And the way we deal with it must be sort of delicate and diplomatic, because we cannot oppose the fire safety regulations per se as such. But what we need to ensure is sometimes what happens is the local officers try to harass the hospitals regarding fire safety. And not only that, I think I can say this on public forum, there is corruption also, significant amount of corruption and demand of money that is asked for. I mean, we also discussed about Andhra Pradesh, which has come out with some guidelines regarding fire safety. And we're trying here in Karnataka to simplify some of the inspection processes, and also depending on the size of the hospital. You cannot have a complete whole system of fire safety for a one-room clinic as such compared to a large hospital. So I think we need to have some degree of proportionality regarding some of the things, and clear evidence that there are new advances now. For example, for a small example is, about lift, the use of lift, etc., and the use of staircase. Now you have actually stretchers, etc., which can actually go down the staircase very, very easily and safely, for example. So there are lots of things that we can do, but the fire safety people are not willing to listen, and they simply say fire safety, because we've got Supreme Court order. That's the other thing they always say. There's a Supreme Court order that we all need to check, and you need to comply. These are the hidden issues. And what we are trying to do in Karnataka is meet with the senior people, but the responsiveness is not that great. It's sometimes the senior people say, yes, we'll help you. But at the district level, the message doesn't get around at the local, small level, etc. So it's going to be a big challenge, I think, the fire safety one. As I said, the challenge for us as organizations is to ensure that there is patient safety if there is a fire incident. And at the same time, try to downgrade some of the overburdensome regulations there are, and some innovative ideas where we can actually bypass without compromising safety. So that's what we are trying to do. And as you said, it's not going to be an easy one, but we are trying to progress as much as possible.
Yeah. So my question to Dr. Kapoor is, if we get together as organizations and try to define some of the really pragmatic, practical, feasible precautions that any small and medium-sized hospital can take for the fire safety regulation, will that be honored and accepted as the basic minimal requirement for fire safety? Or because it's the second floor nursing home, everybody cannot shut down just because they are placed in a different floor. So you walked your way around it. So is there any point in trying to invest the time on defining something like this to say that, okay, this is the minimal we expect, if this much we have, then you can apply online and show the proof and get your fire safety, whatever statutory document, and then build over it, or anything like that?
Yes. Yeah, actually, we had discussed with the top fire management people, and we explained to them that fire safety is very much required, and we are not saying that you should exempt us from it.
Yes.
But please differentiate. Now the problem is for them, 10-bed thing is hospital, and that 500 bed is hospital. They call you hospital. Now that is the other problem. These are mini kind of things.
Yeah.
So I said, this is not an industry, and don't compare with. Now they wanted an underground tank of 1,000-liter water to make. Now many nursing homes are in cooperative housing societies. Who is going to allow? The society is not going to allow. Where is the space to do that? So they were receptive, and they have given concessions. They have exempted certain things, and otherwise it's not all that. Unless some structural thing that becomes expensive. Otherwise, putting those fire smoke detectors and fire extinguishers or thing like that doesn't cost much. But the thing about India is that now certain unreasonable thing like the doors must be fireproof or some particular material which is fireproof. Now that is very expensive. Each door costs a lot of money. So they themselves suggested, and sometimes the best people to deal with are the lower people. They themselves suggested, no, instead you have a fire retardant paint. Don't have the full door, but you get these paints which are called fire retardant paints, which are cheap, don't cost much. So you paint it with fire retardant thing, and okay. But the essential thing, as Sushil said, there's a lot of corruption. And in India, the oil that moves is this corruption, and it is in our DNA, this corruption. No matter what happens, everybody, all of them, and so what they do is that often members have done is pay them some money, and then they will just give a report that everything is okay, because they also realize that the risk here is not much. This is a small place, Now, like the gas cylinders, they said you can't use gas cylinders. You have to replace. No gas cylinder is permitted in the nursing home. You have to get an electric, induction stove, electric stove. So that is also not costly. So a lot of things are doable, and I think that's how we should work around.
Right.
Get them to say that, look, we are okay with it. And they also know that they're not very strict then, because they know this is small setup, can't compare with 2,000-bed hospital and so on,
Right.
So I think that's how we have to.
So, yeah. So there is some hope that we can work our way around it, Ashok.
Yeah, I'll add. As Dr. Kapoor sir already had said, see, at different corporation, different rules themselves local people make, the local fire department. And the way of harassment is your renewal doesn't get done. They'll say, get the fire done, then we will give you a hospital renewal. And your Mediclaim and cashless, everything gets stuck. And that's the way how they start blackmailing. Normally, 2-3 corporations here, AMC and Mira Bhayandar Corporation also, we made the fire officer sit, the municipal commissioner sit, we have around 5 politicians who are doctors themselves. Them also sit, then the doctors representatives, and then we were open. We told number one, the system is corrupt. So every year you ask for renewal, every year we have to pay 10,000 below the pocket. Why we should pay? Make it 5 years once. Okay, done. Every hospital has different structure wise. You assess, you can't say a tight jacket formula. There are where 2 staircases are there, different. And then we came out with some minimum things, and then things were very smooth. And after that minimum program in our corporation from last, I think so 6-7 years, no problem.
Excellent. I think this is a very good, valid, practical suggestion that we should take on and work our way around it. Thank you, Ashok. We move to Bharti, whom I want to pose, your reflection on any case where we handle for maternity, and typically the age group is really, not the dying age, but a 22-year-old, she delivers amniotic fluid embolism, not your fault, but suddenly there is a catastrophe and maybe she'll lose her life, and a situation like that in small hospitals, how you would handle if it happens in your hospital. That's number one. Secondly, it's happening, say, like 40 kilometers from Hassan in some small hospital, like how Ashok and team ran there. Would anybody, in our circuit be willing to go and stand by and, spend a lot of time and at the cost of shutting down their practice, their OPD? How do you think this will realistically work? What do you think, and how do you think we should motivate?
Hema, for having me on this platform. And well, as you said, if we are together, we can definitely do it. And we have faced many such real life situations in our setup. Unfortunately, we have a very good rapport among our own private practitioners as well as the medical college practitioners. So we do rush to any unit, whether it is a small clinic or whether it's a hospital. The things we have been repeatedly telling our members are, please call for help. So in that perspective, we have a WhatsApp group. It's not a WhatsApp group of the whole members of the Indian Medical Association or the private hospital doctors. We have included the police also into that. So about a few years back, we were able to, generally when the new superintendent of police or the district commissioner comes in, we as IMA and the Gynec Association, we go and meet them, introduce ourselves to them and tell them how many members, what exactly we are doing. We try to have a good rapport with them initially, and we try to accommodate them in our group. So the moment there is as a casualty in my labor room, the first thing I do is my staff do have the list of my fellow gynecologists on the list. So they immediately send a call to them. One is for the professional help. So I may require help to mobilize blood. I may require help on the surgical, as a surgeon, extra hand, somebody to document, somebody to talk. So we follow that protocol, and immediately 5 to 6 of the gynecologists come in. And the same way we have a police IMA group. It's a WhatsApp group where we have this particular superintendent of police who was here. He said we have these people who are the sub-inspectors who are entitled to your area of jurisdiction. So those people are there. So the moment I have a problem in my hospital, I need help. So that goes to the police helpline, and they immediately send people here when it is a mob violence. But if it is not a mob violence and it is just a professional calamity we are facing, I first call for help. The anesthetists are there, the gynecologists are there, the surgeons are there, and we also have a group of senior doctors who have a lot of credibility in the society, who are respected by the society. So when they come, they may not be gynecologists. They sit across the table. The gynecologists and the anesthetists are managing the patient. Somebody else is arranging the blood. And then, the media immediately rushes in as soon as they see a crowd. So the police are there. And very often when the police come, the relatives are upset and they say, what, you've called them to threaten us. So we tell them, no, we have not called them to threaten you. We have called them for our own protection. I have thrown the ball the other way around. I want the police for my protection. And we have displayed this circular where it says that violence in healthcare facility is not permissible. And then there's somebody who's talking to the media there. It's not the doctor who is managing the case, but somebody else. If the media comes into place, we tell them, be patient. We will give you the exact picture of what's happening. In case there is a casualty, there is a mortality. Immediately the situation escalates, So when that escalates, we have the senior team of doctors talking to them. Meanwhile, one of our colleagues is documenting each and everything, and we document it with video recordings. We keep the CCTVs on. If somebody doesn't have a CCTV in the labor room, we ask one of our staff to start recording the situation of what's happening, who is shouting, how is the doctor behaving, and what is happening to the patient is being recorded. And we tell them also, the mob also, if you want, you can record it too. And usually when we give a police complaint, the police people come with a video camera. They also come with the video camera and they do this. And we try to diffuse the situation by talking to them and telling them. But of course, there have been instances where they say they refuse to take the body away from the hospital. And that is when the police intervene. Yeah. And very often, as all of you have already told, the police are trying to push against us. They're always against us. They're never together with us. they try to manipulate because they are getting some kickbacks in that. So at that time, this rapport with the police and the superintendent of police, which we are maintaining, helps us a lot. The moment we put it on the WhatsApp group, we have somebody from there, and the superintendent of police in Hassan for us luckily has told us any moment, anytime, any of you can call me. There is anything. For example, there are situations when there is a patient who requires to be shifted to a higher center and they refuse to shift to the higher center. And we know that if we do not shift the patient to the higher center, we're going to have a problem. So the police have been telling us that even that situation, please inform us and the district health officers that such and such a patient requires this treatment. Please intervene and see that they get the necessary care. Till then, we are going to take care. And the other situation you said, if somebody calls me 40 miles away, the same situation, we have towns like Chandrapatna, Belur, Haladi. Yes. We have the doctors. By the time we reach there is a team of doctors who are from the IMA, from the Private Hospital Association, from our own specialty associations. We rush in our own vehicles. We shut down. We tell our patients there is a problem somewhere. Somebody here will look after the emergencies. I'm sorry, I'm going to see you tomorrow. We inform them and we leave immediately. But as you said, that has to come from many more, because usually we are seeing that it is only one particular group of people who are seen at the site, who are seen at the police station, who are seen at the lawyer's court. See, the moment you say, as Dr. Lalit very said, we doctors lack tenacity. The moment they say police and lawyer, they are jittery. I said, why do you want to be jittery when you've done your job properly? Just document it and let's face it. Yeah. And in the eventuality of something happens, like it is proven that we cannot be it's indefensible. In such cases, we always have avenues for settlement. Because we are seeing, in spite of all this support, we do see hospitals just getting perturbed as soon as there's a violence, just handing over a few lakhs of rupees and huge amounts of rupees. And that sends wrong signals to the public and to the media. Absolutely. Oh, the doctor was wrong. That's why he paid up the money. And so the moment a doctor says 2 lakhs, this hospital is paying, the next fellow, and most of them who come there are not the patient's relatives. They are the third party miscreants who come there because they're going to get a cut from that compensation, whatever the doctor is going to pay back. And I think speaking level-headed, not losing your temper is very, very important. We have to answer to all their questions, whether it's to the media, whether it is the police, or whether it is to the patient's relatives.
Thank you, Bharti. There are a lot of mature inputs that you have, threaded together and placed it very calmly and very, methodically in front of us, which actually it was like a walkthrough as to what we should be doing in our own little setups when such things happen, this, that, and the other, and when the team is better prepared. And also, I really, really appreciate the smaller groups, smaller towns like Hassan, relatively, it may be a subset of a small group there, but at least they are there. Whereas in metro cities, each one to themselves, we are kind of more lost than ever before because, ye jhanjat mein nahi padne ka. They just, back off. That is usually the attitude. So thank you so much, Bharti.
All of us are in glass houses. Today it's Shiva, tomorrow it's going to be me. That mindset has to come in.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. One line.
Yeah, please.
In Mumbai, what we have done, AMC Mumbai, we have an app. Now we have an SOS edition. Okay. So the moment the doctor presses that SOS, whoever doctors are in that PIN code number, that doctor in that PIN code number, that's automatic an SMS. Okay, this doctor with this address is in need of help. Please rush.
Excellent.
But we also have a WhatsApp, but this way what happens in that area, because in our area also there are some places which are very much in interior and where the nearest doctor would be the main golden hour help for that doctor.
Absolutely. So this is the use of technology which Rashmi was mentioning about. It is thinking out of the box, goes beyond what one could have imagined many, many years ago. So, sir.
Yeah. The other thing which we had done in Mumbai, we had appointed professional. See, this is another thing. We had appointed see what happens is, why doesn't this violence occur in the bigger hospital? Because they have a lot of security, they have money to, is it not? Even if I want to go and see my patient, they ask me 5 questions before they let me go in. I mean, they've got so much security, they can afford it. Where smaller setups can't afford. That's part of the problem. We have nobody, to help us. So we had a contract with a company called Topsline. That was a professional company. They had these brigades. And moment they had a 4-digit number. If you would call them 1952 or something, then within 9 minutes, people on motorbike and some people would come, not interfering and aggravating it, but just available for you, And also even today, what we have done, often the problem doesn't occur on the same day. Suppose today the patient died, the problem may occur next day or the third day, Immediately they are too shocked, they may not call a mob and all that. So what we have a provision where AMC will spend the money. Suppose you had and you think for the next 2-3 days, we have this security agency who would send you security people just hanging around there for the next 2-3 days. And we have connected it with our professional indemnity policy. That means if you are insured through AMC for the professional indemnity, then this is a bonus to you. That is, you would get free of charge. But the TOPS line has stopped now because they done some fraud and they're in jail now. The owners are in jail. So that is no longer. We are looking for somebody else where this 4-digit number and by this GSP, GPS, they could trace you and come. You just had to call them. 4-digit number. That unfortunately the company has closed, but we are looking for other orders. So I'm saying, like individuals may not have time. You have professionals who are being paid. They rush at least immediately. That way.
Today,
So I think
there's a ruling from the Supreme Court, the same issue that private, I just have it on my phone, it has been sent by the KPMA, that private hospitals need to arrange for their own security. So I think that's what you've already done and we need to go ahead with this.
Yeah, because that's a very useful methodology, I think, because, having somebody there for security, because doctors can only do this much, but real people are needed to.
Can I say something about this? What Madam, what Bharti mentioned about this Supreme Court judgment. So, Madam, that, the problem is that petition was very badly filed. It's a wrongly filed petition. The petition to the Supreme Court, I don't know whether they said that. We are not telling them that government should provide us security. That should not have been the plea if it was. All we are saying is that once somebody is accused of physical violence, then all we are saying, just apply the law which you have only passed. You're not implementing the law. Though the plea should have been to Supreme Court. Okay, sir, there is already law in place. They can get 3-year jail. It's a cognizable, non-bailable offense. Please, if that was done in even 3-4 cases and enough publicity was given, then this will stop. Why people are doing it? Because they think that they can get away with it. Either मारामारी हुआ, तोड़-फोड़ हुआ, कुछ नहीं हुआ. वो तो आदमी, nothing happened to him. But if it comes in it should be well known that it's not an excuse. Somebody died, so you break somebody's property or harm him. Once that deterrence, what works is deterrence, deterrent effect. Few people should be put in jail as per the law, which is already Karnataka has got, Maharashtra has got. Why aren't we talking about that? Okay, look here, you are not applying the law which you have passed. We are not asking for the moon. We are only saying, he created an offense under this act. Please put him behind bars, arrest him, prosecute him, and then we will publicize it. But you're not doing it. So if you tell them to provide security, that's a wrong thing to ask them in the first place. So that judgment has to be looked at it in a different way.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I think maintenance of law is a government function. No, maintenance of law and order is a government function. So government has to look after the law and order situation either in the hospital or anywhere. It is a work of the duty of the government to maintain the law and order.
Yes. So they should do their job. They are not doing their job. What should be told to the Supreme Court? Now, I read in the paper, one fellow slapped one lift man. That it had come on the TV also. He slapped the lift man and that fellow was arrested. All right. Now, how just imagine. He slapped him, he was arrested. Here he beat the doctor, broke his property, and he's roaming around. I mean, what is the proportion? I don't understand.
The problem, I think so, is doctors don't continue that pressure. wherever,
Yes.
see, recently in Noida, Delhi, a female argument. Now, the moment media showed, if the doctor doesn't want to come in limelight, they say, Jando, I will manage. This is a particular community. I drain 75% patients from them. I don't want to hurt their sentiments. Now they are apologizing. And then what happens is the doctor doesn't maintain, even if the association comes to support. Suddenly the doctor says, I am not interested to continue.
Yes, that is the other thing. The doctor later doesn't want to proceed. Unless there's a complainant, you can't do anything. No? So doctor says, leave it now, I don't want, I have to practice here only. Tomorrow again they will, that fear is there. I'm not blaming, but
the softer and the easier way out is what they're always looking for. So last but not the least, as we come to the close of this brilliant panel, may I ask Dr. G.V. Divakar? I spoke to Rashmi about NABH, the quality stamp, etc. So you've been talking on a lot of forums on how to minimize the litigations by proper documentation, communication, do this, that, and the other, etc. But I want to ask you very specifically, our small hospital has got the NABH stamp, but all that the staff is bothered is the capital letters, the name should be written, and then the stamp should be put. What notes are written, they're not seeing. They're just seeing these end points, to show the NABH people. Everything is tick marked and all the documents are in like good order, but that does not translate into, either patient safety, patient care, patient respect. So what is your thought process on how they should align, how they should really, do something to make the litigation? Because I think communications and documentations are the two key aspects, and just by giving an NABH stamp, that is not happening. What is your thought, sir?
Thank you. This is a big topic. Actually, I can speak for about 1 hour on this topic. I got about 50 slides, but I don't want to continue that. So it is announced of prevention is worth the pound of cure. It applies both to prevention of diseases to patients and to prevention of litigations to doctors. So how to prevent it? Where to build a good rapport with the patient, and good counseling has to be done, and we should follow a rational, advanced, available treatment, and we should maintain complete, accurate, legible medical records, and informed written consent has to be taken, and we should avoid criticism of the fellow doctors. That is one of the important things. And we should explain to the patient and the relatives all the complications which has occurred, and if it is possible, we can treat at our place, and we can tell them we'll refer to some other hospitals. And we should respect and treat the patient with care and concern, and we should adopt a humanistic approach, and we should explain about all the anticipated risks, and we should have a good rapport with, we should build with relatives and fellow consultants. So an ideal doctor-patient interaction should be, we should respect privacy, and we should ensure confidentiality. That we should not disclose the matter to the public or neighbors or anybody, no one like that. And we should have good communication skills, and we should have eye-to-eye contact. We should communicate in, spend some more times on the article I read in American Journal. If they have spent about 5 minutes extra, they can reduce the number of litigations against them, to speak to the patients, explain everything in detail, and we should follow clear diction, and we should follow good bedside manners. It is also one of the important things. And we should be kind to our patients and keep inform the patients of all the possibilities. And we should not be afraid of taking second or third opinions. And we should be careful about what we say about others, because careless words may interrupt another doctor in a needless malpractice suit.
Yeah. So I agree that, communication should be with all of these ingredients and characteristics that you have said, but usually the excuse made is the lack of time or the complexity of languages where patient is not understanding, because in our own setup, there may be a Kannada speaking patient or a Hindi speaking, and one of the doctors cannot address this, that, and the other. There are so many practical barriers to follow what you're saying about communication.
And we should train, monitor, and control all of our employees, and we should have written protocols to be followed in all the phases of work. because our staff's negligence will usually be viewed as our own negligence as a vicarious responsibility. So we can reduce the malpractice suits by following 3 or 4 C's: a good communication, consent, confidentiality, care with standard of care, and complete accurate medical records, counseling, and all these things. So all these are more important to prevent any litigations in the practice and do a healthy practice.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Divakar. I think this needs to be emphasized to every employee, right from the security onwards to the front desk and everybody who is handling the patients. Meanwhile, Dr. Sushil, did you want to say something?
Yes, no, I think we need to raise awareness amongst our own colleagues, fellow doctors, because sometimes they inadvertently or advertently, I don't know, criticize openly against a fellow doctor or a fellow hospital. And that instigates or stimulates the sort of anxiety and other things. So I've seen it too many times. Maybe it's a competitive nature of our practice, but we need to be very, very careful about the words that we use and avoid criticism of the our fellow doctors as much as possible. But it's within our hands. It's within our control. And we need to make sure that we try and avoid that, I think.
I think that's a very important point. Lot of 30% litigations will go down from tomorrow. If from tomorrow everybody says he's not going to badmouth his colleague and not provoke the patient, a lot of litigations will go down, because that is what usually happens. But unfortunately, I've seen colleagues giving references also to the relatives. Okay, this reference is saying that this should be done in this way. I mean, it's something very wrong, because it could be you, the shoe could be on the other side, So this is something that should never be done.
I think that's a very, very important highlight of what inputs we've got from Dr. Divakar, that apart from communication and documentation, to communicate about other doctors, cross-connect in a manner that it would provoke them to do more, because especially in our branch, somebody says I have a hysterectomy, then they come to us and we say, no, there are a lot of other conservative methods, unnecessarily doing the hysterectomy. This is the commonest thing every single day we see in our practice. At least 1 or 2 would have come and said that they have advised me unnecessary hysterectomy. That is what they will come to as well. So that is a very routine. So I think all the points mentioned by very distinguished panelists today, starting from Rashmi, Ashok, Bharti, and Divakar, and wise inputs by Sushil ji and Dr. Lalit Kapoor, well taken on board. And as Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see. And we've seen some changes on the screen here. Can anybody guess what is that? It is Dr. Gopinath, who has come from the hospital to home. That is one change. And from his OT dress to regular dress, that is another change. So Dr. Gopinath, we are vigilant about where you are and what you're doing. So any closing comments, sir?
You can unmute Gopinath.
Oh, you're muted.
Muted.
Gopinath, sir. You're muted, sir.
Muted. You're muted, Gopinath. You can't hear.
Hello.
Yes.
Thanks to
Yes.
Dr. Hema and Divakar. And we always heard the lot of experiences from Dr. Lalit Kapoor. What I want to say is I had to make a comment on 3 important parts. Starting from the last point where we took forward, we have to educate our own colleagues, and in our own institution, the loose stocks in the lounges, loose stocks in the cafeterias, loose stocks in the lift and other things should be stopped by the hospital staff regarding the incidences which took place, because that leads to different communication at various levels and the news spreads in a different manner, number 1. Number 2 is, as all the doctors are involved in the process, it is our duty to see that the family of the doctors which should be taken care of, because tomorrow he should come back and continue his practice. Few years ago, we wrote an article in Indian Journal of Surgical Oncology, management of person number 3, not the patient who is suffered, not the doctor who is suffered, the family of the people, and how we should bring them back to normal functioning and he should be back to the society to serve. And today's discussion, we have raised the various points, starting from the patient case, starting from the consultant, starting from the fire safety, and how all of us should utilize the facilities available, whether NABH, no NABH, we have to follow the strict guidelines, follow the evidence-based, wherever it is possible, and our experiences and economy-based should be used in treatment planning to the satisfaction. We should be satisfied ourselves first rather than anybody else. That is the most important thing. I think today's discussion, as I told you once again, I thank all the panelists, all the speakers, Hema and Divakar, who took this initiative. I think I request both of them, we should have more and more such programs to be carried out, at least once a month, bringing in the various specialists so that it will benefit and will motivate our AMC members to be more active, more interaction should take place so that it benefit people at large. Thank you everyone for participating. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, because I think the COVID has brought into the forefront the e-dialogues, which can very seamlessly and easily happen. And this is one of the cost-effective ways to learn more and to discuss more. And the hundreds of them who are watching the show live and many more who will watch it on the link afterwards in the YouTube, I'm very, very sure that each and every point they will be able to relate to, because that would in their journey of medical practice be applicable to them sometime, somewhere or the other. And as we have openly discussed, there are many challenges, but if we get together, there is a wonderful opportunity to get around these hurdles. And on behalf of the two organizations, AHP, the president, Dr. Sushil Jatana, AHPI, a Karnataka chapter, and Dr. Gopinath, who heads the AMC in Bengaluru, we will continue to remain together to motivate more members to join the fold with the clear intent that there are a lot of things that we can do better together. To a very distinguished guest speaker today, Dr. Lalit Kapoorji, who has spent his valuable time giving us so many useful inputs. And, the joy of sharing is very evident from his way of deliberation, that he wants to give more to everybody who he comes in contact with. Even that spirit is much appreciated, sir, for your wise words, for us to learn a thing or two at every occasion. And the panelists that we have had today, Dr. Rashmi, Dr. Ashok Shukla, Dr. Bharti Rajshekar, and Dr. Divakar, my immense thanks for very easily agreeing to be on the panel, to share honest and true inputs, to share the experiences and help us all learn more. And Sheetal Joshi and Sheel, who have worked behind the scenes relentlessly to bring us together, and each and every one of those delegates who have been with us today and who will see more of us in the very near future. Namaskar once again, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's an afternoon very well spent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well conducted.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.